Hey everyone, before we dive in, if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a new story. It really helps the channel grow, thank you. I could tell something was seriously off the second she stepped inside. It wasn't the guilty look on her face, and it wasn't even that she was hours late coming home. It was the way my wife Jessica clutched her stomach, grimacing like every breath hurt. Her hair was a mess, mascara streaked down her cheeks, and her keys were shaking in her hand. "I don't feel good," she mumbled, letting her purse slip to the floor in the entryway. It wasn't what she said that stopped me cold. It was the scent clinging to her. Not booze, not her usual perfume. Men's cologne. Thick, musky, and way too familiar. My throat closed up, but I forced my voice to stay calm. "Rough night with the girls?" She nodded without looking at me. "Yeah. I think something I drank didn't agree with me." She pressed a hand to her mouth. "I just need to lie down." I watched her shuffle away, shoulders hunched like she was guarding a secret she wasn't ready to let go of. I didn't follow her. Not yet. That was the first crack. For the next 3 days she barely left the bedroom, claiming she felt sick and wiped out. She hardly touched food, turned away whenever I tried to touch her, and pretty much avoided talking to me altogether. But she wasn't careful enough with her phone. On the morning of day 4, while she was in the shower, a text lit up the screen. "Has he asked anything yet?" Just a single letter. That one letter exploded in my head like a bomb, ripping open every doubt I'd been trying to shove down. I stared at the phone until the bathroom door creaked open. She walked out wrapped in a towel, saw my face, and stopped dead. "Who's M?" I asked, keeping my voice low. The color drained from her cheeks. "Mike, he's married. He was just checking on me." "Checking on what?" My tone was quiet, too quiet, the calm right before everything blows apart. "That you didn't get the wrong idea," she whispered. Her eyes begged me to buy it, to let it go. But lies always sound like they've been practiced 100 times. I didn't yell. I didn't lose it. I just said, "We're going to the doctor." "Why?" "Because if you're actually sick, we're getting real answers." Panic flashed across her face, but she nodded. That's when I knew for sure. The clinic room was freezing, the lights humming overhead. Jessica sat stiff as a board, twisting her fingers together. I stood next to her, arms folded, replaying the cologne, the text, the way she flinched when I reached for her. When the nurse came in with her clipboard and that polite smile, she said, "We'll just run a couple routine panels, nothing big." Jessica swallowed hard and followed her out for the blood draw. While they were gone, I slipped the nurse a folded note. "Please call this number with the results instead of us. It's urgent, belongs to the patient's friend." It wasn't a friend. It was Sarah, Mike's wife. I'd found her contact the night before. Cheaters always leave breadcrumbs. Waiting is worse than knowing. The next 2 days crawled by. Jessica floated around the house like a ghost, barely speaking. Sometimes I'd catch her staring at herself in the mirror like she didn't recognize who was looking back. Guilt rolled off her in waves. Then the call came, not to me, but to the number I'd given. 5 minutes later there was a knock at the door. Jessica looked up, confused. "Who's that?" I didn't answer. "Open it." There stood Sarah. Short brown hair twisted into a tight bun. Eyes red and puffy from crying too much for too long. She held a folded printout in shaking hands. "You're Jessica," she said, voice trembling. My wife went white. Sarah stepped inside. "Your test results got sent to me. I think your husband wanted someone else to hear them first." Jessica whipped around to look at me, terror and betrayal all over her face. "What did you do?" "I made sure," I said slowly. "The truth couldn't be spun." Sarah unfolded the paper, her voice cracking but clear enough for the whole room to hear. "Patient tests positive for chlamydia." The words shattered the air like glass. Jessica gasped, legs giving out. She collapsed onto the couch, shaking her head hard, hair falling into her face. No, that's not. There has to be a mistake." Sarah kept reading through fresh tears. "Follow-up testing strongly recommended for the patient and all recent sexual partners." Silence crushed the room. Jessica buried her face in her hands and sobbed. Sarah turned to me, slow and deliberate. "She got it from my husband." Even though I already knew God, I knew it still hit me like a punch straight to the chest. Jessica cried harder. "I'm so sorry. I never meant for it to go this far. Never meant for what? I cut in, my voice finally breaking. To hurt me? To get caught? To treat our marriage like it didn't matter? I was lonely, she whispered. You were always working, always gone. And Mike actually listened. I let out a sharp, bitter laugh. So you slept with him because he listened? Sarah gave a broken laugh of her own. That's exactly the same excuse he gave me when I caught him last year. Jessica froze. You knew. I hoped he'd changed, Sarah said softly. I thought love would fix him. My throat burned. And I thought trust actually meant something. After that, everything blurred. Words flying like knives, apologies that cracked in half, truths dragged out raw and bleeding. Finally, Sarah headed for the door. She paused and looked at me. I'm sorry you had to find out like this, she said quietly. But you deserve better than lies. When the door shut behind her, the house felt huge and empty, like the marriage inside it had already died. Jessica walked toward me, eyes swollen. Please say something. I took a step back. If I touched her, even to push her away, something in me would shatter for good. What do you want me to say, Jess? That I forgive you? That we can just patch this up? She nodded, desperate. I shook my head. Love can't live in the dark. It needs honesty. It needs trust. And you killed both. She dropped to her knees, grabbing my hands. Please, I'll do anything. Therapy, counseling, I'll cut him off completely, I'll prove it. But the part of me that used to light up at her smile, that believed every promise she ever made, was gone. Hollowed out. Something broke when Sarah read those results, I said quietly. Something permanent. I can't keep loving someone who treats my heart like it's disposable. Her grip tightened. Don't leave. I'm not going anywhere, I told her. You are. She stared like I'd slapped her, but she didn't fight it. Maybe finally she saw the truth. This wasn't rage anymore. This was the end. 3 hours later she had a suitcase packed, hands shaking, breathing uneven. She stopped in the doorway, searching my face for any trace of the guy who once thought she hung the moon. Will you ever be able to forgive me? She whispered. Forgiveness isn't the same as forgetting, I said. And I'm not going to forget. One last tear slid down her cheek. I'm so sorry. But sorry was way too late. When the door clicked shut behind her, the silence wasn't peaceful. It was the heavy kind that presses on your chest and reminds you some cuts never heal clean. They just scar, marking every spot where love used to live. I dropped onto the couch, the same one where she'd sat crying lies a few days earlier, and for the first time since the night she came home smelling like another man, I let myself break. Not just because she betrayed me, but because I had truly, honestly believed we were unbreakable. Some promises only last as long as the people brave enough to keep them.